Hey everyone, this is Hill Street Soul, and you're tuned in to the core with the Millennial Coach, discussing topics on real life. Check it out. Everywhere you go, don't forget the ghetto. Listen to the core.
Hey coaches, it's me, the Millennial Coach, and I'm just going to talk about this is our day number 4 on self-esteem, but in the sense of when you started your life in potentially an abusive or emotional abusive state. So emotional abuse occurs when one person intentionally or otherwise, consciously or unconsciously, engages in behavior that insults, threatens, rejects, neglects, blames, manipulates, isolates, degrades, punishes, humiliates, or exerts control over another. Fear, guilt, and shame are among common responses to and goals of emotional abuse. So one of the things that I do want to highlight, when people are abused or there's trauma, there's something called the hippocampus gland, and it actually shrinks. So if you've ever spoken to someone when they say to you, I had a really terrible childhood, but I don't remember anything. Part of the hippocampus, the shrinkage, is because it's a way of disassociating, but also protecting yourself not to engage in that energy. It's very, very delicate. An abused individual. Abused individuals are really delicate. And this is why I was talking in the last video about when you have low self-esteem, or you might have been a quiet child, or you may have been a very shy child. But it depends also who the abuser is. It could be a parent, unfortunately. It could be a family member. It could be an educator. I went to school with, unfortunately, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate. I don't mean to sound harsh, because anytime you mention this teacher's name to people from my school, secondary school, they're just like, ugh. And when I say he's dead, they're like, ugh. Like no one's got anything. And that's the thing. What you do in life, in death, don't think that people's emotion will change if you've been abusive. I'm aware of, again, people having parents that abandoned them or abused them. They've passed away and they have not been interested in their death. So the impact of abuse actually has such a chemical effect in the brain state that we don't even realize that we've shut that side of ourselves down. And this is why vulnerability is so important. If you find the right person to talk about, we can all heal. All of us can heal from the things that have happened to us. And the first thing is, like, I've got a 90-day program, coaching program. And the thing is, I talk every person that goes through it. I give everyone a presentation of how the program is going to go and what I expect from you as a coachee and what you should expect from me as a coach. And the reason I do that, I think it's important to be transparent so people feel safe, and they feel open to the prospect of exploring different elements of themselves. I don't take for granted abuse. If people come to me, and a boy, Asian boy, recently told me that he was sexually abused, and I asked him, why does he feel confident and comfortable to really bring it up? He said, it wasn't my fault. I felt that was a victory in itself. So I do want to say to you, look, I want you to have some level of awareness of your self-esteem. And you will, if you go below, you will find videos. I mean, not videos, the shows, the recorded long shows on self-esteem. And the reason I want you to listen to it, simply because I delve into the hippocampus. I delve into all of that based off of trauma. And also, if you're someone who's dealing with the mother wound, the father wound, inner child wounds, this is a really interesting conversation, because a lot of the times I remember, look, I was working with a consultant, and her behavior just, again, to me seemed like there was unhealed inner child wounds. So I said to her, are you familiar with this type of work? She said no. And maybe it's just me, but I think in this day and age, the amount of experiences, not positive ones, but negative ones, I call them little people when we were children, people have gone through, is unimaginable. And when I've heard of people being sexually assaulted, men and women, when they were younger, the thing with me, I'm too passionate about doing right that I get really upset, like really upset. So when people are open with you about and be vulnerable with you, don't take that for granted, because you may be their saving grace. And if someone comes to you about some level of abuse, take it seriously. And I'm not saying call the police or anything, but just be there. Listen. Ask them what they would like to do about the situation. Give them feedback on what you suggest they would do. Because I think we don't spend time listening, we spend time talking. We have two of these, one of these. I didn't mean to swear at you, but I mean one of these. So we need to consider when somebody is actually giving you feedback about their situations, not for you to always chime in. Sometimes you just need to shut up. And I've said this multiple times on my show, because it's important that listening can heal many people. So that level of abuse, and the thing is, when you're a child and you deal with abuse, one of the things is that you actually go into or your brain undergoes periods of rapid development, because a negative experience will disrupt your growth. And when it disrupts a child's growth, they then become an adult and they've stopped being a child. So there'll be things that sometimes when a child is too mature, I don't like it. I don't think it's healthy. It makes me question a parent's uh, um, what has that parent exposed that little person to? Why are they so mature? Why are they taking complete accountability and responsibility for something their parents should be doing? Abuse is deep. Abuse is deep. And I'm not an expert on abuse. But in the workplace, you have absolutely zero rights to abuse anybody. Zero. I'm not saying you have rights to abuse anybody outside the workplace, but it's unheard of. You won't hear about abuse outside the workplace. You'll hear more so about it inside the workplace. So make sure if someone's abusing their power, abusing abusing you, please raise it. If you are in a union, raise it. If you have trustworthy leaders, raise it. I'm the kind of person, people have made sexual remarks to me. And I just went to their boss. I said, listen, if they're not getting it from their wife, do not come to me, because I am not on display. And if that person does come to me again, I'm going to let them have it. That's why I tell their boss, it's unacceptable. You do not have that level of communication in the workplace. It's unacceptable. I do not want to feel unsafe. I do not want to feel intimidated. And I think sometimes people don't realize that their behavior actually is really destructive to someone's confidence and self-esteem. So really take this, insight seriously, and understand that you do have rights. You do not have to tolerate anybody's level of emotional abuse, disrespect, any of it. It affects how you interact with others. That much I'll tell you. So I am going to leave it there. And I want to say thank you very much for spending some time with me. But I haven't even spoken about a hot topic or a pet peeve, have I? Honestly, Wendy Williams needs to come back. What I do want to talk about in terms of self-esteem is P. Diddy. I don't often talk about things like this, but it lends nicely to the subject area about self-esteem. What we watched on that video, that horrific video of him kicking and dragging, honest to God, I'm telling you now, Diddy and any abusers like him, if you ever did that to me, no one will see you alive again. And in the words of Heather Dubrow, it's not a threat, it's a promise. That was completely out of line, out of order. I do not understand why you're so cruel, is the word I can use. Cruel. Cruel. That girl must have been absolutely terrified. Terrified. I remember I was in a restaurant because I take myself on dates, right? That's the one thing I'll say to the girls, or the men, if you're single. Well, men, you guys, what I've noticed about men and what I like about men is that they get their brothers together, regardless of nationality, and you always see groups of guys going for lunches and brunches, and I'll be sitting there on me, on my Jack Jones, having my lunch, waiting for Shannon Sharp, somebody telling him I'm out here. Yeah, just waiting. And so I think when when I was out having dinner, there was a little boy, so adorable, and the woman had a baby in the pram, and the partner, and they were sitting down. She was so abusive to the child. I had to get my food to go because I would have boxed her in her head. And that's the thing. I don't like when people are unkind to people. It is horrible to watch, and to do it to somebody who's defenseless, whether it's an elderly person or a child, I have to remove myself. Otherwise, the Metropolitan Police are going to find out my name, number, and social security. But on a serious note, things like that need to be reported. I just cannot put that's why if I don't like social work. I don't think I'd cope well. I don't think I would cope well if I was a detective and to find a child's body. I just wouldn't cope well. If you've ever watched First 48, this is what, when you date an American, this is the kind of stuff you watch. But things people do, and when you hear about why they've been abusing or killing or killed someone, or, you find out that they've, even when you watch movies and they're true stories about trafficking, it's heartbreaking. Even one of my friends said to me, I sent her a film, and it was about it was a true story in America of a young girl who was trafficked, but she went back to the abusers. So it's that is it Berlin syndrome? I always get it wrong. Stockholm syndrome. I always say Berlin, don't know why. But when she's got Stockholm syndrome, where you actually start protecting your abuser, these things are really crucial to know what's happening to you. And the thing is, look, I don't condone violence. I think that you have to make sure when you see something, honestly, like in the train station, when you see something, say something. Because seeing a child being abused, I didn't know what to do, so I left. But I left the child to stay in an abusive in an abusive environment. I can't call social services on them in a restaurant. That doesn't even make sense. And do social services do they have enough people to service those kind of inquiries, to catch these people in the act? The fact she swore at this little boy, it's about 4, swearing at him and telling him to sit still and shut his mouth. I was just thinking, I need to get out of here. Like, literally need to get out of here. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. And I don't know. I just think, this is where the low self-esteem sometimes starts, when you have abusive parents. Caretakers that are abusive, honestly, if anyone sees it, please report it. Please report it. Unacceptable. It's not normal. It's not healthy. And it doesn't matter what culture, and it doesn't matter if a culture says that they can talk to you how they like. No, they cannot. It's not normal. It's not okay. So I just want you to know, anybody that is emotionally abusive and then they tell you, yeah, but you need to listen to your elders. Honestly, no, absolutely not. So please take heed and deal with the matter effectively and legally when you see or you experience any of that impacts and creates a lifelong of low self-esteem. So yes, Diddy. And the thing is, for his level of abuse, he has low self-esteem. The thing is, you cannot be somebody always acting like you're the, you're the dog's bollocks, as we say in the UK. That means that you're the OG or the Don. Diddy, the moment you hit another human being, abuse another, you are not worth ish. That's it. It's not even, it doesn't make you powerful being abusive. It doesn't make you, it makes you weak. That's why I have no respect for the people writing in the UK who are racist. They're dumb. You're so stupid that even I won't even go to a protest because I don't even have the energy to even tell you to stop doing what you're doing. Come and meet me in a dark alley somewhere with my baseball bat and we'll have a chat. Yeah. Because that type of behavior, that's what it needs in some instances if you can't get hold of them in jail. Because that's unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable that you are abusing people because of their skin color. And even there was a guy in the States, I think he was doing a survey and a white guy said, we've got a hanging tree for you down the road. And then the people that his friends and family were just laughing. So those people that are abusive and other people that are conspiring with them to actually continue the abuse, they're just as guilty, even if they don't say anything. So if you know people are being abused and you're not saying anything, it's not okay. Somebody had told me that a child, my friend, I had dinner with my friend at her house recently, and she said one of her neighbors was beating the brakes off the child and she just phoned the police. She said, I don't really care if she knows it's me. Abuse is not right. I don't care if it's your parent. I remember before I started doing coaching properly, I will never forget when somebody told me how their mum spoke to them. I said, your mum's abusive, and she could not accept that I'm saying her mum's abusive. This is the whole Stockholm syndrome, protecting the abuser because you think that they're doing it because they love you. A lot of people abuse because they're broken from the inside. Diddy cannot be mentally healthy and whole and happy and then be doing that to Cassie. Honestly, it was like I felt like he was beating me, and I've never been in that situation before, but it was like people felt it, and then you threw a vase at her. Like, I don't, you know what? I don't even want to keep talking about this. Let's just wrap this up, man, because in this life you will pay for the things that you do. I'm telling you. So what you do in the dark, especially when you hurt somebody and abuse them, it will come to the light. And when it comes to the light, it will come and bite you in the ass. So I don't wish him well in that respect. I hope that he has a come as they say, come to Jesus moment. But he honestly, did he need to get a good slap? I'm not gonna lie, like that was, yeah, you don't disrespect people like that. That's disrespect to the highest. So I'm the millennial coach. Sorry I went off on a rant, but it's just when you're talking about low self-esteem, it's not just one thing, and people just think, oh, I've got low self. Where it can stem from, some people will never understand why someone's turned out the way they have, and sometimes you will never know because they will never tell you. So I just want to send out my love and heart out to those who are dealing with low self-esteem. You can get through it. You can get over it. Seek help, seek counseling, therapy, journal, and really speak life and be around people that speak life into you. Okay. And that professional help is really going to allow you to shed some layers of the pain. Okay. So I want to say thank you. I am the Millennial Coach. You've been listening to the mini call and you've been in my lab. All right. See you.